really good cast of characters. And when you do a movie like this, you still have to make it real. You have to make it as real as you can. And so it really helps to cast a really, really good, strong group of actors.
I think Resident Evil is an immersive experience. The idea is to kind of immerse you in this scary, terrifying world. I remember when I was a kid and I went to see movies, the sound, for example, would just come from the front of the theatre. And then slowly sound technology developed, the sound kind of wrapped around you and the sound became more immersive. And I feel like 3D, you're finally going to be immersed in a visual sense as well.
The challenges for making a film in 3D at this point are quite significant. There are a limited number of cameramen who are truly experienced with it.
The cameras are heavier, they are more complicated, they take longer to set up, they require more lighting, so the lighting time is longer on the set.
Shooting 3D takes a little bit more time. There's a bit of a different thought process that goes into every shot, just in terms of foreground placement, background placement, midground placement, how you block the actors.
One of the challenges is how slowly we have to shoot sometimes. Occasionally we'll only get about a page a day, so you have to always be ready to turn it on whenever they need you.
It really kind of made you think very, very hard about, do you need this shot? That gave you more time to compose the 3D images that you really did want in the movie.
We went to the company that did Avatar, a company called Pace, run by a man called Vincent Pace.
Vince Pace worked with James Cameron on, The Abyss, developed underwater systems, underwater rigs, and that led to developing 3D rigs. The rig that we used were the Pace Fusion rigs. To shoot a 3D image, you need two cameras.
You're dealing with an image for the left eye and an image for the right eye.
You have two different cameras that make up the 3D aspect of the film. So he's got to make sure that everything lines up just so.
You need to separate the two cameras and then have control over how far apart you have those two cameras separated. That's sort of your volume of 3D. You actually put one camera up top and one shoots out straight, and they shoot through a half-silvered mirror. And we have to do that so that you can get the cameras close enough to see an object. And if the object moves, you have to be able to follow them.
We used the Sony F-35 cameras, which I felt were the best digital cameras available on the market.
The cameras that we're using is, state-of-the-art technology. So it's a lot of fun to get to play with those toys.
These guys are figuring it out as they go along, and it's so exciting to watch something new being created.
A lot of the gear that we are using in the film is custom-made for our requirements.
These are big beasts, these cameras, and they're heavy. And so you try and put them on a normal crane, and the crane can't take the weight. So we ended up designing and building a lot of our own stuff. We had to build our own Steadicam system. We had to build our own motion control rig.
Paul came up with shots that would really benefit from the positive and negative space that is 3D.
There's some really epic, spectacular sequences that 3D really enhances.
There's a sequence in which two Alice clones dive through a glass window and drop hundreds of feet, which is a wonderful sequence in 3D. That was very inspired by the fact we were shooting in 3D.
It's not gimmicky, but it's definitely 3D, and it just makes it a lot of fun to watch.
Where 3D works very well is where you can show depth. One of the things that shows depth is particulate matter in the air, whether that's rain or smoke or underwater where you have things floating underwater. So I designed a series of scenes that would really take advantage of that. The opening scene is all in the rain. there's a big fight scene between Mila and Ellie and this character called the Executioner, which, although it's indoors in a shower block, the Executioner decapitates several of the shower heads. So we have an indoor fight scene in the rain.
We shot that sequence predominantly with this Phantom HD camera, which is a slow motion camera. We shot, on average, 200 frames a second. And you can watch a drop come out of the shower and hit the ground. That's really amazing to see in 3D because there's water everywhere in the foreground, the background, between the actors, falling on the actors.
It doesn't have to be a big environment to work really well in 3D. We have a scene where Mila and Ellie are crawling through these very tight tunnels, and you really feel like you're in those tunnels with them.
The sets have been designed, the stunts have been designed, the weapons have been designed. Everything's been designed to enhance the 3D experience.
I was very excited when I heard that we were going to be working in 3D. One of the things that always has been fun about 3D is that whole poking your eye thing.
It's great when you have objects, that come right towards the lens. It's not always possible. You want it to come out of the screen, you've got to throw it right into the matte box and destroy the camera and the lens and the mirror and everything. So typically, those elements will become CG elements.
This movie's been a lot of fun because we've been able to explore another dimension in terms of how our effects are presented, which is the spatial dimension that the audience relates to in a theater.
You're always going, wow, that visual is amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe that came right at me and landed in my lap.
We're having fun with the spatial dimensionality of the movie, but not getting in the way of the story.
I've always, as a production designer, worked on sets that have a level of depth to them. And 3D is a very good medium for that.
So we composed sets that had great depth to really accentuate the stereoscopic effect. Then how you move the camera changes as well. You tend not to move the camera too fast because your mind as a viewer has more to take in. So if you move the camera very erratically and you cut really fast, people's brains aren't wired to take in the information that quickly.
It's too much if you've got lots of things close to camera. So the images keep the momentum going because of the 3D element.
We were the first movie to actually cut in 3D. All movies up until this point have cut in 2 dimensions and then projected it 3D and then seen how it works and then kind of had to change it because cutting patterns work differently in 3D than in 2D. We were very inventive and that kind of made it a lot of fun, really.
This Resident Evil is really taking the franchise to a whole new level.
Part of the fun in this movie is the physicality that comes along with it.
It was exciting to me because I got to train physically and mentally. I get to kick some zombie ass for the first time.
The stunts have just gone off the rails. It's gonna be sick.
Whenever I start a movie, there's different things that you pull out of your arsenal, the different tools that you need to work with. With Resident Evil, a lot of it is the physicality. Knowing how to shoot the guns, doing some of your own stunts, and really making it as real as possible so that the audience can go on this journey with you.
You know it's going to show up on camera and just, be exactly what the fans want. And there's a couple of those moments.
The stunts in this movie are tremendous. As an actor, it's great to have something that you can really grab a hold of, focus on, and make it your own.
It's a lot of work. It's grueling, and we've been in such challenging situations between the stunts and the guns and the cold weather.
Both of us love to do our own stunts. We do as much as we can.
I have a great love of martial arts and a great respect of doing stunts and action films.
I'm using the same stunt coordinator, Rick Forsyth, that I used for the last Resident Evil movie. Partly because he's good at what he does, but also Mila feels very comfortable with him.
Ready? Yep.
Rick, it was great to kind of bring his team back and work with a familiar set of faces to kind of bring the stunts to life. That's very important when you're asking your lead actress to do as many of their own stunts as Mila does. And she does 99% of everything you see in the movie is really her doing it.
I think she's been training through the whole series of Resident Evil movies, so she's got it down.
She's so impressive on screen. The way she holds herself, the swords, the knives.
Is that any way to treat a lady?
Mila did a lot of fight training with swords. She studied with a Japanese sword master because I wanted the sword fighting to be as authentic as possible. I wanted to give, Mila some fresh weaponry for the movie. So I wanted to go with these Western iconic weapons, 2 revolvers that she has, but also these sawn-off shotguns. And I thought, rather than use traditional pellets, I came up with something slightly different, which is throughout the movie she collects quarters. So she loads up her shotgun with quarters.
I love to fly. I love to do stunts, even though it's hard and it's uncomfortable. I really get a kick out of it. It feels like I'm superhuman. It gets me up there doing these amazing things. I just love it.
1, 2, 3, 2, 1.
Half of our heroes end up in the elevator shaft.
Oh shit.
Well, Mila leads the zombies over the rooftop.
There's an element of danger and risk. You do the stunt wrong and you're in a wire rig, you can get really hurt.
2 to 1, please. Going out. Here we go.
We had her, hung from a crane.
3, 2, 1.
She did the fall, just dropping past us on wires and the harness. She hits the end of the wire and the zombies continue to their death.
You can believe a lot of the crazy stunts that happen in the movie are achievable because she actually does participate. She's good at it. She knows how to do it and just keeps doing it and keeps getting better at it.
I'm very, very involved in the look of my movies. If I wasn't a director, I probably would be a production designer. So it's something that I'm very invested in.
The imagined future in this film really does start with Paul's written word. We really rely on his vision to kind of direct us in what we're creating in terms of design.
Because Paul is such a visual director, he thought the audience don't just want to see bleak post-apocalyptic environments.
I read the script and I remember thinking it was huge. I mean, just in terms of scale. There's 3 distinct visual changes. There's Alaska, which is very crisp and clean and clear. Then there's Los Angeles, which is covered in ash and very dark and colorless. And there's Wesker's Laboratories, which is all antiseptic white and crisp again.
The landscape for Resident Evil 4 was basically decided early on as we started sketching what these places would look like. We have the Umbrella Corp underground and the survivors and the zombie living above ground on the other end of it. So we're trying to contrast them basically. And that contrast was giving Umbrella Corp everything that was really polished and nicely designed. And giving the post-apocalyptic world this gray, brownish hue, this cloud that is constantly over them.
We're huge fans